Alrighty, so the divisional previews continue, and I shift over to the AFC West, and let's do this. Does it even matter? Is it just the Chiefs, and then it's everybody else? Spoiler alert, probably, right? Like if you look at the Denver Broncos, their defense was bad last year. I mean, really, really bad. And the way they started off the year, it was like historically bad. And you could say, well, it got a little bit better as the season went along, but did it really? Did it really? I mean, it stunk, right? And frankly, the hiring of head coach Sean Payton, you would expect the offense to make a big dramatic improvement. Maybe there was a little bit, but not nearly enough, right? And Russell Wilson didn't exactly light the world on fire. He certainly did it in 2022, and even last year, you could say he statistically improved, but was he really that much better? There's a reason he's in Pittsburgh now. And you talk about all-time boneheaded, dumb dick fucking moves. The Denver Broncos trade for Russell Wilson is one of the absolute worst in my lifetime. And it is amazing that their general manager still has a job, considering how horribly the Russell Wilson trade ultimately went. The hiring of Nathaniel Hackett, how does he keep his job? Fascinating to me. He must have pictures of the new owner or something. I don't know. And I look at this team this year, you trade away Jerry Jeudy, which might be as much of addition by subtraction as anything, frankly. Is this a team that really improved all that much? I don't think so. Frankly, I think they're going to stink. But, if Bo Nix shows that he could be the future, it will be a mile high in Denver. That's for sure. They got to hope he is. That's about all I got for you. I think the Broncos are destined to be at the bottom of this division, win maybe 5 games. But like I said, if Bo Nix shows something, then not all is lost. And then you've got the Las Vegas Raiders, where you can't point to them having just drafted a quarterback and saying, hey, if it goes well here with that guy, then everything else doesn't matter so much. The Raiders instead are going a different direction. They felt that Antonio Pierce showed enough last year when he took over as interim head coach to be given the full-time gig. And you can say, yeah, last year the Raiders won 8 games, but 2 of them were against Denver, who stunk. And then he beat the Giants, the Jets, the Patriots. They all fucking blew chunks. So, is it an overreaction to a temporary spurt, or did they really find something with him? Do they have a Dan Campbell type of presence, a Dan Campbell type of leader there in Vegas? And I think the reality is we're going to find that out this year, right? The Raiders certainly hope they've got their Dan Campbell type of culture builder. I don't know. We'll see about that. They lost Josh Jacobs in free agency. They brought in Gardner Minshew, and he's going to be their starting quarterback to kick off the year. Certainly an upgrade over what they had last year with Garbage Pail and fucking Aiden O'Connell. Imagine being a Raiders fan trying to convince yourself, Aiden O'Connell has a bright future. Aiden O'Connell can be the guy. Aiden, what the fuck are you talking about? Their big money signing, obviously, was bringing in Christian Wilkins on the interior of that defensive line. And that defensive line should be really good, right? You've got Max Crosby. You've added Christian Wilkins into the mix. You got Kuntz there. And if Tyree Wilson can show some development and progress in year 2, that's going to be a really good defensive line unit. Offensively, they still have Devontae Adams. They added Brock Bowers, so now you'll probably see them run a ton of 2 tight end sets with him and Michael Mayer. The weaponry on offense isn't completely empty. I wonder how well they're going to run the ball this year, though. Their offensive line is okay. It's just hard to get too excited about their offense. Now, you got some Minshew magic. He's an upgrade, like I said, over anything they had at the position last year. And you still got Devontae Adams. Brock Bowers, yes, but in general, it's hard for me to get excited about their offense. It's hard for me to get excited about the back end of their defense. I just don't see, so you can say, yeah, they brought in Minshew, they brought in Christian Wilkins. Those are moves that are designed to improve, but I don't know that they really improved all that much. So I think this is like a 7-win Raider team, somewhere around there. Shifting over to Los Angeles, a former home of the Raiders back in the day. Let's talk about a team that probably wishes they would have stayed in San Diego, the Los Angeles Chargers, or maybe they don't. Who gives a shit? Obviously, the big move for the Chargers in the offseason was the hiring of Jim Harbaugh. There had been all this speculation for years about whether or not Harbaugh was going to come back to the NFL. If he was, where was he going to end up? It got pretty close last year, apparently, with Minnesota, or 2 years ago, whatever the fuck it was, before it ended up not happening. Other people have flirted with him, and he finally made the plunge to come back to the NFL, West Coast team, which he certainly seems to have a preference for, and no hate there, right? Jim Harbaugh comes in, and yay, you trade away Keenan Allen, you let Mike Williams leave. You just lost 2 key cogs of your passing game, 2 key cogs of your offense. Congratulations. But they still do have Justin Herbert, and that ain't bad. Justin Herbert is a high-end quarterback in this league. Make you no fucking mistake about it. It would be really interesting to see how Harbaugh works with a Justin Herbert, because this whole notion of Harbaugh being this big, offensive genius, I don't know what the fuck you watched when he was in the NFL, or frankly, even at Michigan. No. His offense is more about minimizing mistakes and ball control and that type of shit. It certainly isn't about helping develop quarterbacks to a higher level. He's more about minimizing the weaknesses, like he did with Alex Smith, like he did with Kaepernick, than he is about helping guys truly ascend to another level. When you look at this team defensively, big and healthy seasons from Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack would go a long ways. Obviously, they had a healthy season from Khalil Mack last year. They did not from Joey Bosa. This is a team that really needs their 3 big stars on defense, Bosa, Mack, and Derwin James, to be healthy, to play all year, and to play like the all-pro level type of talent that they are. If they get that, then this defense, you would hope, could be better. But I'm not sold. I expect this defense to still largely stink. Yeah, sure, I think they'll improve some from last year, but this is a pretty bad unit. They've got holes all over the place. I'm just not convinced that they're going to turn it around and make this massive improvement in this year. And I'm really curious to see how the Harbaugh style works in the NFL in 2024. There's this presumption that he's going to come in and he's just going to dominate and be great. And the reality is, yeah, he's been coaching in college for almost a decade, but he's been in college for almost a decade. He's been away from the NFL game for a decade. And his style and approach of, frankly, Bears football! That's what he won with in San Francisco. Don't bullshit yourself. If he's going to come in to LA in 2024 and think he can regularly keep up with the high-level teams in the league and he's going to be able to play that same style and win a Super Bowl, he's fucking insane, and he'll be out in 3 years. Right? Now, that said, I do think the Chargers will show some improvement. I think Herbert will still be fine. You've got Slater and Alt as your tackles. The talent cupboard's not completely bare. I think the Chargers can win 10 games. I think expecting much more than that is a bit unrealistic in my opinion. Harbaugh could come in and improve a culture a little bit, but I don't know how much of a change he's going to make in year number 1. And then we get to the 2-time defending Super Bowl champions, the Kansas City Chiefs. And now, as they stare down the barrel of this 2024 season, they're preparing to chase history. We've never seen an NFL team win 3 straight Super Bowls. We've never seen it. We've seen teams go back-to-back several times. We've never seen one win 3 straight Super Bowls. And the Chiefs seem as poised in position as any team ever to be able to achieve that special place in history. You've got one of the greatest coaches of all time in Andy Reid. You have a quarterback in Patrick Mahomes that if he never played another snap in the NFL is a no doubt about a slam dunk first ballot Hall of Famer. And he's slowly progressing into that he could be in the GOAT conversation very quickly. You have an all-timer, top 3 type of tight end in Travis Kelce. And the ironic thing is I point to all of that, and you say, you got those 3 things working in your favor. You've got a really big advantage. It was the defense that played a major role in that repeat last year. Because if you remember, like, that offense kind of scuffled and struggled. They had traded away Tyreek Hill. Now you're trying to figure it out with different pieces on the offense. They had some issues. It was the defense behind Chris Jones and L'Jarius Sneed, who, by the way, is now in Tennessee after being traded away in the offseason. It was those guys that played a huge role in this team being Super Bowl champions. Now, at the end of the day, they still had Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid and Travis Kelce. That makes the ultimate fucking difference. But the defense really, really mattered here. So now you go into another season. You say, okay, where are the Chiefs at? They feel positioned. I think depth is certainly going to be an issue for them in some key spots. And the other thing is, one of the problems sometimes of being a champion is some of the shit you got to deal with. Like, they had some notable offseason issues, whether it's Harrison Butker in his fucking mouth. And, frankly, I'll say this about that asshole. Like, when you're like a commencement speaker, and I don't care if I agree with your politics or not, frankly, get that shit the fuck out of there. Give a motivational address. Tell these kids, congratulations. Stick to that bullshit. I don't need to hear your stance on abortion rights or trans rights, and I don't care if you're for or against them. At some point in time, free speech is one thing, but on another hand, it's use better judgment and shut the fuck up and keep that shit out of it. Like, that's all I think about with Harrison Butker. Just shut the fuck up. Really, just shut the fuck up. And then you've got Rashee Rice and his Grand Theft Auto dumb fucking ass. Like, I gotta ask you honestly, how fucking hard is it to not break the law, asshole? How hard is it to not be driving like a jackass on the highway? Like, Harrison Butker, how hard is it to shut the fuck up? Rashee Rice, how hard is it to not drive like a dumb fuck? And these are the types of challenges that teams that win Super Bowls can deal with. There's more attention, there's more distraction. These guys get higher profiles, which isn't always a good thing, right? So, who knows what else is going to happen this year, but it's just another thing that just points to how hard it can be to repeat. And not only are the Chiefs trying to repeat, they're trying to become a 3-time in a row Super Bowl champion and make history. That said, I still think they're clearly the class of this division. They'll win like 12 games, and I certainly wouldn't bet against them at this point. They've still got Andy Reid. They've got Patrick Mahomes. They've got Travis Kelce. They've got Chris Jones. Like, they're good.